Okay, today we're going to be talking about Last Jedi. This is the official spoilercast of us four doofuses. What'd you think of the movie?
I loved it.
I liked it a lot.
It was okay. It was good. I liked it.
Okay, so what were your first impressions after watching it? Because you guys know my impressions after watching it. I was just like...
I liked it, but there were parts of it where I was just like, I didn't know how I felt about them at the time. But I still walked out of the theater thinking this was a really good movie, and I really had fun.
Like we saw it at the same time across the country. So you saw it at like you saw it like 10 o'clock. I saw it at 7 o'clock.
I remember you texted me.
I was like, I walked out of the theater. I was like, what the hell did I just watch? It's like,
yeah, you had mixed feelings though.
I just couldn't comprehend it. It was not at all what I expected, and so I had a real hard time like comprehending what I just watched.
Well, when I was watching it, the whole time I was like it didn't, for some reason it didn't click with me, but then I realized it was because the first movie had so many direct parallels to the first, to A New Hope, that I went into the movie expecting like something to be what I like expected, I guess, out of the trilogy, you know.
So when did it click then?
Just afterwards, when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, well, you know, this movie takes everything that you expected from a cliche Star Wars storyline and
Subverts it?
Yeah, like Snoke dies. Well, we should have watched the movie again recently, but just a lot of stuff.
Wait, how many? You guys have only seen it once?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Shamefully.
Yeah, Snoke dies, and then like the heroic pilot guy, like his mission technically fails and everything.
Yeah.
You know, actually causes more deaths. Yeah, Poe.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that I had like a few gripes with the movie, but I really think that if I watched it a second time, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, even after chewing on it a bit, it doesn't really bother me.
Do you remember any of the gripes?
So I think I remember specifically the Canto bite scene, the casino. At first, there's like this puppet that looks really weird, but anyway. But just that scene in general felt kind of like strange, almost prequel-y to me. But I realized after comparing it to the prequels that it was still like a very Star Wars-y sort of scene.
That was definitely the most kid-oriented section of the movie.
It looked very Hunger Games like.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, when they first like did that opening shot of them going into the casino and that music starts playing, I was so excited, partially because of the music, and I was like, oh, a casino. That's what you can do as an evolution of the cantina instead of just doing the cantina over and over.
Yeah.
So I actually loved Canto Bite and didn't even know that people hated it until, I mean, obviously because I didn't see any spoilers, but I was surprised when I found out so many people hated it.
I think Leia coming back to life in space was a little weird to me. Not the fact that it happened, just the way it looked.
Yeah, just like the
Yeah.
graphics are really weird. I didn't like that either. But I was okay with it happening too.
I'll try to think of other stuff as we go along.
I mean, everything. The Leia thing really jumped out to me when I first saw it as what the heck am I watching? But that when I saw it a second, third, fourth, and fifth time, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, like, do you guys? What are your complaints that you've got like off the top of your head? I know you just mentioned some gripes. Do you guys have complaints?
Finn and Rose.
Yeah. Oh, that was the big
like,
one. Yeah.
It was just like, what even is the point of this?
So the whole plot, or like the relationship between those two characters?
The relationship between those two characters, because it's just like...
Well, the love thing, right?
Yeah, it was just so weird. Like, it's like they tried to explain why she fell in love with Finn in the matter of like 30 minutes, and none of it got through. It was just so really
no,
random.
I didn't like the love story aspect of that, especially because I like the love story aspect of not Daisy, what's her name? Ray and Finn. Like, I think that's a really cool relationship. Yeah,
like,
that's
love
awesome.
between Ray and Finn. No, I think
because like in the first,
it's not going to happen. It seems like.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to happen unless J.J. Abrams decides to do it. But like in the first movie, like his like desire to help her, just because she's like somebody who actually looked at him as a real human being. Like, I mean, that's just a friendship too. But like that connection they had, that was awesome in Force Awakens.
I wasn't really bothered by the Finn Rose relationship, because in the beginning, you know, she's there, she's talking to Finn, she's like, oh my god, you're this hero, you're the guy, you're Finn. And so like she has kind of this girl crush for him. And then immediately when she finds out that he's running away, that he's fleeing, she's like, "Oh, you're a coward."
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole rest of the movie is spent with Finn rebuilding gaining her trust back as he finds himself to be less of a coward and more of a resistance fighter. And at that time when he sacrifices himself, that's a complete 180 from where he started, which is like, all right, now the fangirl Rose can kind of return there. Now, I don't like to use the word fangirl Rose because
That's what she was, though. Like,
I mean, and she became way more than a fangirl, but like at first that's kind of what you thought of her, and then she was the one who ultimately was a role model for Finn.
Yeah, see, I don't like their love story, but the character arc that they both go through, I think, is actually really good because you've got Finn. In fact, his motivation is just to help Rey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the only reason that she thinks he's a coward is because he's trying to go help Rey. So, like, that's his motivation, just him and his desire to be with that other person. Like, friendship or love story doesn't matter. But then, through her, he expands his definition of what it means to be a good person and to fight for a cause that's actually worthy.
See, a lot of people complain about like their arc and stuff because like what they were trying to accomplish didn't actually matter to the plot because they failed. But I think that's a stupid complaint. But
I do too. Yeah.
I still think that Rose was kind of a weak character, and like I
agree.
Yeah,
she's definitely a weak character.
She felt too like. I mean, just too much like a character that we're supposed to relate to. It felt.
She's too goody two shoes.
Yeah,
like, she's just almost like a caricature of.
But I also don't know. None of us are.
But you liked her, right?
I liked her, but I was gonna say none of us like. We four guys don't really relate to that character that much because I don't think we've been in her shoes before. So I can't say for sure. I don't know. I haven't really met anyone who's like that type of person in real life that I know of. But I'm sure out there are people who look at Rose and are like, I'm like Rose. I relate to Rose. This is the first time I've ever seen this type of character in the story before. Maybe an introvert who's like really golden-hearted and is there, who can be a fangirl, but also realizes good from cowardice when she sees it.
Well, my problem was that throughout the telling of the story and their interactions between Rose and Finn, I don't think there was enough there to develop the relationship between them two. And like, regardless of how her feelings, her motivations, I feel like in the end when they stuck that whole like scene between them, which basically like kind of implied that she's like in love with him or something, or well, I guess she said that she was in love with him. Yeah. It was just like you don't need that at the end of that movie. You need more to stuff developing between those characters before I feel convinced that this should happen.
You needed really 3 like looks between the two of them, like 3 looks.
Well, Finn clearly, sorry to interrupt, but Finn clearly doesn't seem to share the same feeling because he was like surprised when she kissed him.
But at the end of the movie, he's putting his coat over her and like sitting next to her, and I don't know if he's holding her hand, but like is like right next to her the whole time.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
Yeah, and then they gave like that look of Rey, like that could be construed as like, oh, he's, because like. Well, first of all, do you guys think that they were setting up a Rey and Finn love story before Last Jedi?
I don't think so, actually.
I mean, there was like contextual things, like you got a boyfriend, is he good looking, blah blah blah. But it's just like that felt more kind of like a humorous type, just kind of showing Finn's awkwardness in a sense.
And honestly, if you're a guy and you look at Daisy Ridley, like. I think no matter who you are,
it's the exact same thing.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Do you have a boyfriend? Is he good looking?
But just like in the Last Jedi, though, like Rey, she's like, and if you see Finn, tell him, and then they don't show what. So maybe they were just trying to leave it open for whatever the audience wanted it to be.
Part of me almost wants Rey to just not fall in love with anybody.
Yeah,
and like just be her own thing.
I mean, it's Star Wars. They don't really focus on the love stories that much. So
yeah,
that's
true.
Except the beautiful, beautiful love story between Anakin and Padme.
Well, no, Han and Leia.
Right.
I think the development
I don't even consider those Star Wars.
Han and Leia, you're right.
Yeah.
Han and Leia
because when Han and Leia in the original, they had that moment out on Endor, and she goes, "I love you," and he just goes,
"No, it's a Bespin."
Huh?
Bespin.
Oh, Bespin.
Yeah. Cloud City. Yeah.
Wait, no.
When he's getting frozen in carbonite,
it's like
she says, "I love you," and he says, "I know."
I know.
Oh, I'm thinking of
They probably have.
Wasn't there another
They
scene
do
when
the
they're like in front of the
opposite. Yeah, they do the
Oh,
opposite.
yeah, but it's like every time they do that, like it felt like
No, it
genuine,
felt
it felt right.
Yeah.
But this one, it just felt like it was like they were like, let's just stick that in there because I guess they developed something.
Here's another thing
I
about
don't know.
Rose is like you could compare her to Lando because Lando's like a new character introduced. But the thing with Lando is that they give context and you already know there's history between him and Han, and that alone is enough to show you so much about his character. Whereas Rose, I don't know, something about Rose just felt a little too on the nose. Like it felt like a character that was like, hey, people who go to conventions, this is you, and it's like.
See, I didn't read into that at all, but maybe that's just
Well,
because
I
I
mean,
don't have that context in my head.
Not so
already.
much that it seemed like they were intentionally. It's just like it felt like her character was written in that. Like I don't know.
I just feel
a little
like
too
her
forced.
character was not as interesting.
Okay, well, let's move on from the not as interesting character. Let's talk about the fact that Snoke just gets killed, and you don't learn anything about them. What do you guys
I
think
love
about
it.
that?
Love it.
Yeah, I like it too. At first that was like the real. I was in the theater. My roommate was to the left of me. Kylo ignited his lightsaber, and Snoke dies. And I said, "What the heck is going on?" I like literally said that so people around me could hear. Like, what the heck is going on?
No, I love it when they take people's assumptions and people's like obsession with like, oh, who's Snoke?
Yeah.
They're like, nope. Same with the Rey's parents. I love.
Oh,
that.
yes, Rey's parents, awesome. And then same with
Exactly.
Luke throwing the lightsaber. Anything they could have come up with would not have satisfied your curiosity,
Yeah.
especially because I thought that they had written all three trilogies, like at least an outline or the whole trilogy ahead of time, but
they
they didn't. Yeah,
Really?
No, and-
all of these are just one at a time.
And that's one of the big things is like, people are saying, well, who's Rey's parents? Like, why are they setting it up from episode 7? Like, why do she have that flashback? And
Yeah.
why is Obi-Wan talking to her? And really, it's you can say it's genius or you could say it's lazy writing. Part of me says it's lazy. It's J.J. Abrams had an idea. He has this philosophy with this mystery box. Have you heard this? Where he puts a box on a table and says, this is a mystery box. Sometimes the audience knows what's inside. Sometimes I know what's inside and the audience doesn't know what's inside. And sometimes the character knows what's inside. I don't know what's inside. And the audience doesn't know what's inside.
I think that's usually what J.J. Abrams does. Because, like, if you look at Lost...
I was gonna say that
Yeah.
explains Lost.
Yeah, it's just like nothing but, I don't know what's in it, but
That box
hopefully
stayed
we think it's
closed.
something good.
But and that's kind of what's happening, and that's why I think a lot of fans were upset with this movie. It's like, well, all these things were pointing to this.
But I think even... Okay, sorry.
But you're totally right. Like anything that they would have done would have upset a lot of people.
Yeah.
So the only way to upset no one is to upset everyone.
But see, from the start, I was really hoping that Rey had no relation to anybody. Because, I mean, so a lot of people are always like, how come Rey's so good at fighting? One, because she grew up fighting people. But two, the title is Force Awakens in the first movie. And it's like, there's an awakening in the Force.
Yeah,
That's
who
all
do
you
you
need to
think
know.
is awakening in the Force?
Yeah.
It's Rey.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. But I love the fact that it's just, the Force is like awakening and affecting random people. It's not necessarily people in this Skywalker lineage.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
so good.
like, it was a good way to break away from the cliche and a development of Rey's character because throughout the first one, she wants to know who her parents are and the fact that they were nobodies, and it's just like it probably, well, we can't say for sure, but I feel like it'll lead to some sort of development of her character in the third movie because it's so cliche that it would be like, oh, she's good at the Force, so she must be the daughter of someone. And it's just like, nah, man.
The Chosen One storyline is just, I've had it.
Yeah.
The Anakin thing.
The Anakin thing and just like the lineage stuff. It's like, it's not interesting anymore. Like, it's not relatable.
It never was
It's-
interesting.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like,
So
I mean, the Luke and Vader being related was cool, but
that was cool. Yeah.
the whole Immaculate Conception thing, this is weird and a tired
Yeah.
concept. It's like,
And like her struggle to like reconcile the fact that she really is just nobody and that her parents won't come back to her. That's awesome. Like that's such a real like piece of character to where you have this thing that this emotional difficulty that she actually has to deal with,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
I've got a thought if no one else does, or a question more. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say also, the fact that she has no parents and she's like born to nobodies, kind of is like a contrast to Ben's like character, because he's born to Leia and Han, like heroes of the rebellion, and he was trained by Luke, and so like the fact that she's the like almost the exact opposite of whatever he is kind of like another light dark type of concept.
Okay, 2 quick thoughts are: I still want to know more about the Knights of Ren, but I doubt they'll answer that.
Yeah.
I still want to know where the lightsaber came from. Maybe they'll answer that. But
Whose
actually,
lightsaber?
Luke's. Where they found it? Because that's the lightsaber that fell.
Well, I do know that one of the
Maz is like another story.
one of the early concepts for the beginning of Episode 7 was
That's a JJ box.
yeah. One of the early concepts was there's Luke's hand and a lightsaber floating through space, and then a shadow appears over it and they disappear. That was like one of the early concepts.
Yeah. Well, the lightsaber is just the one that got cut off by Darth Vader, right?
Yeah, on
and it
Bespin.
fell
On
on
Bespin,
Bespin.
yeah.
So, I mean, does it really matter how they found it?
Well, the fact that Maz specifically mentions like, oh, that's a long story for another time, that piques my interest some more.
I suppose, but I just kind of looked
it
at that
doesn't
as
really-
just
yeah.
like,
JJ box.
yeah, just like you could develop that into something cool, but it's not critical to the story.
Yeah.
But
No, I was gonna say, in the book Aftermath, there's this kind of cult of Force worshippers, dark Force worshippers, who go around collecting these Force objects and try and like warehouse them almost. They get Vader's lightsaber, so it's not entirely.
Well, that was in Battlefront too.
Was it in Battlefront?
Yeah,
Okay.
and in that comic, there was that one Jabba Hutt guy who had
Oh yeah. Who was
Yeah,
collecting
all-
everything too. So
not Jabba Hutt.
you know, Rackus the Hutt.
Yeah.
Brackus the Hutt or something like that. So it's not unreasonable that there were people out there like searching. I mean, Rey's even a scavenger who's going through
Right, yeah.
everything. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's
there's
fair.
some like little creature in the middle of Bespin like, ooh, a lightsaber. And someone buys it.
So, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say this is a quick aside, but have you seen one of the original concepts for Force Awakens opening?
Oh, I showed
It's
that
like
to you.
oh yeah, it's like 2 rebellion ships pulling in tow a like destroyed Star Destroyer.
Oh,
That
that's
would-
right.
Did I
yeah.
show that to you?
No.
Oh, you gotta see
So that's
it.
super
It's pretty
tight.
cool.
But going back to Snoke for a second, so we all agreed that it was awesome that was that was the topic we started with,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So what I like so much about that is like, yeah, you don't get Snoke's backstory, and that was a very interesting thing. You're like, man, I want to know what Snoke is all about, all this stuff. But leaving that question unanswered, like that's kind of I can understand if you're upset with that. But the way he kills him is so awesome because it's literally the only way he could kill him. He had to mask his like thoughts because Snoke could see everything he could see. So he had to make it seem like he was about to kill her to kill him. And that was just like the coolest thing to me.
That was really cool.
I really liked that. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say. I liked that we kept it Snoke anonymous because the story isn't about Snoke. It's about Kylo. It's about Ben. And if we focus too much on who's Snoke, then we lose the story ultimately. Which it's great when he's dead because now that sets Kylo to be the supreme leader.
Yeah.
And that's something we never saw with Vader. Vader was always like second in command.
Yeah.
Now Kylo is like he's even stronger than Vader
Yeah.
in a way.
All of the whole theme of the movie is handing it off to the next generation, which you think with Force Awakens would be more of that, but this is like the definitive.
Well, that's-
Leia hands it off, Snoke's dead, Luke's dead.
That's what's interesting is I almost felt like I almost felt like I need like 2 more movies, you know.
Yeah.
But also the Praetorian fight, really quick, was amazing.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think anybody disagrees with that.
No,
The set design there with the red backdrop, that
It almost looks like a set, which was kind of
it
interesting.
was a set.
No, I mean, but
Yeah. I think their
classic Hollywood.
inspiration was that one guy. You know what I'm talking about? It was like Mr. Ming or something. There's a character that Snoke is kind of like based off of. Ming the Magnificent, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what movie it's from, but
So one question I had, and maybe you guys who saw it 5 times or whatever will be able to answer it, but so when Luke was originally talking about the Force, and he's talking about the Jedi and how they have to cease to exist, my understanding when I first watched it was the light side and the dark side are like counterbalanced, and as long as one exists, the other one must exist. So he was saying you have to get rid of the Jedi to get rid of the Sith. Is that true? Is that what he was getting at originally?
I don't know.
I don't think
You still-
so. I'm trying to remember too. I think it has to do more with the fact that Jedi believe that it is their job to wield this power, when in reality, no one should have this power. It's not like someone
Okay.
should it's more of this idea like nobody should have this power, and when Jedi think that it's their responsibility to do good with this power, that's their own hubris, that's their own ego saying, I got this power, I got to do something with it, versus cutting it off completely and saying, I don't want this power, leave it to the cosmic force.
So then what's...
I think you might be on the right track, though, because I think what he was alluding to is that the more powerful the Jedi get, the more powerful the Sith will get as well. But also just that the Jedi kept failing. Like that's one of the main themes of the movie too.
Yeah.
Is failure. Like
Everybody
Poe fails
in the beginning.
Finn fails.
Yep.
Holdo fails.
Yep.
And then like the
Snoke,
Jedi fails.
Snoke
Luke fails. Everybody fails.
Rey
Yeah,
fails.
Yeah. And it's like you have to just keep moving on. You know?
And you learn from it. I mean, and literally, Yoda appears out of nowhere and says, "Failure is the greatest. Failure is the greatest teacher."
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
so-
that's in
that
real
is
life.
so that's the main message, is like the Jedi keep failing. Yoda's more just saying you have to keep trying, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I think Luke was he was so defeated, which we can talk about that real quick. Mark Hamill doesn't like that version of Luke. Like for Mark Hamill, he was
I'm going to correct you real quick. Mark Hamill originally didn't like
right. Yeah.
Oh,
He loves it now after
Yeah.
he sees what's happened.
Really?
But at first, he was like, I fundamentally disagree with everything that my
Yeah.
character does.
Yeah,
Which, honestly, I felt too when I first saw it. It's like, this is not the Luke I knew. I grew up watching heroic, epic Luke who would never stray away from a fight. And here we are seeing him hide away in a cave, refusing to go out and help the Resistance when they're in their most dire need.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome, I think. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really...
Just like how many different ways they subverted like our expectations.
Yeah.
I really love that.
Well, I liked the fact that the way Luke's character was, it made you really think about, if this character, who was just so revered and so powerful, is suddenly just afraid of what the Force and the dark side and everything can bring, then it makes you really like have a newfound respect for this power that people have.
Yeah, it gives it...
That gives a sense of mystery again.
It gives
Yeah.
legitimacy to the whole, like...
Yeah.
The whole thing, because Luke is the most powerful, whatever. I don't know. But, oh, shoot.
Favorite moments from the movie.
Oh,
Oh, well, that's obvious.
No, what is it?
The suicide attack.
Oh, okay, yeah. The light
yeah.
speed suicide.
Oh, that was such a great
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
That was the best
great.
moment.
The silence, like the most effective use of silence I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's very, in retrospect, a very obvious trick to use, but I mean, perfect.
They actually
Perfect
had to post signs letting people know that there is a silence that occurs because people were complaining that there's an issue with the audio.
Ah.
People are
Really?
people are just so
They should
stupid.
put a sign that just says, "Man, don't be stupid." Well, do you have a favorite
My favorite. All right, so I mean, I got a lot of
Moments,
favorites.
not movie.
Yeah, my favorite.
Let's
moment-
just call it good moments, because there's too many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
moments. Good moments.
One of my favorite good moments is on crate.
great moments.
On crate with Millennium Falcon, and then you're gonna agree with this.
Oh yeah.
It's when Rey is in the gunner seat, and Kylo tells all the TIE fighters to go chasing after him, and Finn says, "Oh, they hate that ship." And then you start to hear the TIE fighter song from New Hope.
Oh man,
Exactly.
so good. And they go into that little canyon, and there's just like the red everywhere. There's the color theme, like the use of
Yeah.
red in the movie.
I am so glad
good.
I didn't see the trailer. Like, there were so many
yeah,
beautiful
yes.
things that I...
Yeah.
And I told you, it's like, I really regret watching that trailer.
I was really annoyed that they showed Crate in so many of the promotional pieces,
Yeah.
because that was like, I didn't want to know that was in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Or it would have been fine if it was like the first thing we saw in the movie.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm like, okay,
that's like the third act is when you see
Yeah.
it. Or maybe
Oh, actually,
in
I
the
didn't
second,
see
but
it in any of the promotions.
That's the
so I'm
third
glad.
act.
Wait, did I? I don't know.
I don't know which act it is, but it's some act.
Did you know some of those Arctic icy foxes, they had, like, practical effects?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
Really?
weird.
Like,
Some of
yeah.
them were practical, some were real. Well, that was going to be my favorite
Sorry, I
or
stole that
good
from you.
moment. I'll think of another one.
Praetorian fight, obviously, but...
That was another one I was going to think of.
I really like the opening. People did not like the humor to this. I'm sorry, I'm going to...
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
People did not like the humor to this. It didn't bother me at all.
Love the humor.
Like
Just
the,
in general.
the opening scene with Hux and Poe chatting and like...
So good, dude.
It's like, and your mother. It's like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was...
Wait, hold on. Remind me. What
He-
part?
when
When he's
stalling,
like stalling
when
for
Hux-
the
Oh,
bombers.
right. Yeah.
it's like I'm on a hold for General Hux.
That's so post character though.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
can see that.
I want levity in my Star Wars. Okay, this is not like. I think a lot of people want Star Wars to be like this dark, gritty, like more
Rogue One-ish.
Rogue One-ish, like,
Yeah.
but even.
Even
I
that,
feel like
yeah.
people want it even further than Rogue
Rogue
One.
One was pretty darn dark.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot, but still, I feel like Rogue One had lots of humor too.
Yeah.
But
K2SO.
yeah.
So first, what did you think of Benicio del Toro's character,
Oh, I loved it.
the stuttering thief guy?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
I liked that. Yeah, I liked, again, another thing that just subverts your expectation. It's like, oh, they weren't able to find this master lock hacker or whatever. Oh, but they found this other guy. Everything's fine now. And then
Nope.
he just completely
Yeah,
betrays
he
them.
just
And you're just like,
completely
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just like saying, that's just like throwing the old, like, oh, convenient ex machina,
Yeah,
get
yeah,
you out of
yeah.
a situation.
Yeah.
Nope. You're in a worse situation than you were when you started.
I loved that he just literally was telling them, "It's like, look, these weapons, the rebels are buying them too."
No, I
Like,
loved that. Yeah. And the fact that they just showed like, because in a way they're exploring more of the politics of the Star Wars universe without getting all prequel-y, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're showing this depth to it without.
Well, if
hammering
I
it.
were a senator, I would.
We've got to pass this resolution. Yoda scene also, because
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
well, if you had told me before the movie started, Yoda's going to be in this movie and he's going to talk to Luke and it's going to be this big moment, I would have been like, oh no. Like,
Yeah,
that's such
because
a-
that sounds really
Yeah.
stupid on
Yeah.
paper, but like
It was
just
so good.
he captured that same humor that he had in Empire Strikes
So
Back.
perfectly.
Yeah.
He blows the tree on fire and then just starts cracking up.
Yeah.
I love how Luke's immediately like, the ancient text.
The sacred Jedi text.
it's like the exact kind of interaction you remember between Luke and
Yeah,
Yoda.
and that's another thing. Is like I feel like that was such a comforting moment of
Yeah.
familiarity too
Yeah,
within
yeah,
this
yeah.
movie. And-
All right, let me ask you this: would you have preferred CG Yoda
No.
or okay?
No, Puppet Yoda, man.
CG Yoda.
Puppet Yoda was
Because
fantastic.
I was talking to some people and like, why does Yoda look so bad? I'm like, literally, it's the same Yoda they used in episode.
Is it
4.
actually the same puppet?
Or 5? I don't know.
If
but
it isn't,
I mean,
it's pretty dang
It's basically
close.
the same. I think it just looks a little different because we are seeing.
It's
it.
a lot better than the prequel
High-res.
puppet that they used.
Oh, yeah.
in the first
That, yeah,
one.
that prequel puppet was ugly.
You know, they took out the prequel puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course
when,
they did.
When they redid episode 1 on DVD.
What was your guys' thoughts on Phasma?
That was the biggest disappointment for me.
Yeah.
She was cool for 5 seconds.
It was like, you brought her back for this. Just
They
to
needed a
die
longer
again?
fight between her and Finn.
See, I felt like the fight was pretty decent. I don't remember.
It's
that.
really short.
Okay.
Like, it's incredibly short. Finn gets knocked down, and then he just comes up on the elevator, hits her once, and she's
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah, she got Boba Fetted.
Yeah,
yeah.
well, maybe not as bad as Boba Fett, but yeah.
But it's just like, you got this cool character, and it would have been cool to have the stormtroopers represented, so to speak, in a way. Because the stormtroopers are always this faceless, they're clones, so...
No,
Well,
they are.
they used to be. They started out as clones.
No, they didn't.
What?
No, not even the stormtroopers.
The stormtroopers were never clones.
What?
The stormtroopers were never clones.
No, I know,
Well, the
but I'm saying
stormtroopers stem from the
they
clone
stem
army,
from
right?
the clone army.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
They did stem from them.
Yeah,
They
so...
were replaced.
But the stormtroopers.
But
in the
what I'm
original-
saying
okay.
is like that's what they represent. They represent this faceless
Yeah.
entity. Everyone's
Space
exactly the
Nazis.
same.
They're conscripted.
They're
And
space
here
Nazis.
you have Phasma, the first one that's like really unique and is kind of shown as this supposedly a very powerful, unique character, and they just kind of like write her off again. And I thought she could have been an interesting character that like developed throughout the trilogy too.
Part of me is okay because they did that to Boba Fett, but then again, Boba Fett actually played some sort of plot point. Whereas Phasma, what was her point?
She's just kind of cool.
yeah.
No,
Well-
she's the thing that like finally pushes Finn over the edge.
Kinda, but I feel like
But also like
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
still weak.
The thing, a lot of the complaints that you hear about this movie are they didn't develop this enough, they didn't develop that enough. I kind of almost don't even understand how they can. This movie was already almost 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And just to tie up all the ends, not even tie up, but to continue the threads that they had in the first movie, like, I don't know how they would do it without cutting characters out.
And we already got 14 deleted scenes on the way in the DVD.
Yeah, so like the fact that they've got 3 separate storylines going on at once, right? Rey and Luke, the Poe and Holdo, and then Finn and Rose. One of those has to go.
As well as like Snoke and...
Yeah, and Snoke and Rey. Like, there's
Snoke
just
and,
so many different
Kylo.
threads. Like, it kind of made each one, except for Luke and Rey and like the whole Luke, Rey, Kylo, and Snoke. Those were all really solid.
You know what?
But everybody else kind of suffered.
You know what would have been good is if they approached this like Game of Thrones.
It made it a
Made
TV show.
made a 10 series. You know,
That would be my
spend-
dream show, man.
That would be pretty amazing.
Spend $1 billion. Well, you do know that was DB Wise and the guys
Yeah,
from
they're gonna do a trilogy.
Game of Thrones have their own series on.
Although somebody just made a comment that was like, once they've taken over the reins, like the show has gotten a lot more critical negativity.
Yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
I had two thoughts. One was Holdo. I loved her character because at first you think she's like this sort of authoritarian figure on the rebellion, and like, but then she turns around and she's had this plan all along, and she's just trying to make Poe not mess it up.
Yeah.
My other thought.
So
What was it? I don't
I
remember.
was gonna say one of the criticisms is like, why didn't she share it though? And I can tell you my thoughts. on it.
Security, right? Intel.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, you know, why is she being so secretive when it's just what harm would have been to tell Poe, like, don't worry, we actually have a plan.
What is your rationale? What do you think?
My rationale is, they don't know if there's a spy in the midst
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
because
rationale.
you know they
Because-
could be that, and you know it's also she's a vice admiral. She doesn't need to tell a
Yeah, she doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
She doesn't-
random
Yeah.
pilot. Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
because he's a hero of the story to us doesn't mean she needs to tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole thing started out with them getting tracked through warp,
Mm-hmm.
basically, and they were like, "Oh, well, typically you shouldn't be able to do that." So the only two, I guess.
Oh, so
reasonable-
yeah, they said that at some
yeah.
point.
So the two
right?
reasonable thoughts was there's either the spy
Oh,
giving
yeah.
their location, or the Star Destroyer has a technology to track them. So
I
guess
also-
that pretty sound.
I also like that her and Leia like saw that as an endearing quality in Poe. Like they weren't just like, oh, put him in the brig. They were like, oh, I like that guy because he's spicy. Remember?
He's brown and spicy.
I actually didn't like that because I was like, man,
Oh, really?
you are an admiral. Put that guy in check.
Well, no, but
Like he just no. The most ridiculous
but the
part.
rebels.
To me, the most ridiculous part to me though was at the very end. He staged an insurrection, and then they're putting him on that ship, and she's like, I like that guy. I'm like, this dude just mutinied on you.
Yeah.
You like him?
But that's the spirit of the rebellion, right? Like that's I feel like that's the whole point. Is they're
I
rebels.
suppose, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, what I was gonna say is like one thing that struck me when I was watching the movie for the first time is that everything has an explanation. Like I can't think of too many plot holes that just straight up don't have an explanation. Like not all the explanations are satisfactory to everybody, but I feel like just like the spy thing, there's an explanation for why Holdo
Yeah.
didn't explain.
There's
And
context.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Rian Johnson's just ability to come up with a reason for everything happening, even if it's not like the best reason all the time.
And I love how people are like criticizing Rian Johnson for pulling out these new Force abilities. Like, how can Luke appear on another planet? How can someone control their mind? How can they bridge this gap? And if you watch the Force abilities between episode 4 and 5, we don't see like Force pull. We don't see Force lightning. I mean, these things are like out of blue. So
And besides, they all feel like things that fit. Like
Yeah,
none
yeah,
of them
exactly.
are super ridiculous, you know.
and even the funny
Like time
thing,
travel.
And the funny thing,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Rian Johnson tweeted a picture of this old book that came out during the prequel years.
Yeah, I saw
of like
that.
Force ability, like secret Jedi Force abilities.
Yeah.
And one of them is apparition.
Yeah. That was really cool too that they had good attention to detail to where Luke projects himself as the younger
Yeah,
version of
yeah.
himself.
Yes.
And they never touch. Like that was
Yeah.
one thing that I didn't understand until afterwards. I was thinking, like, oh, they never actually touched the whole time. Like during that fight. It's like, how is he actually fighting him?
Well, also I think we were talking about this afterwards, but something I noticed during the movie was like, how do you get that lightsaber? I was like, I don't remember her giving him the lightsaber. I know his hair is like brown instead of
Yeah. It
shorter
was like
beard.
weird. I was like, did they just do the effects wrong? But
So
then
cool.
it hit later, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his lightsaber was destroyed by that point, which should have been a dead giveaway for us.
Well, 'cause that's why I was confused. I was like, what, didn't something happen to that?
Yeah.
One of the interesting things that we just found out through the novelization is that Leia actually knew that was a projection.
Oh.
You don't see that in the movie, but in the novelization, she knows Luke isn't actually there.
So the novelization,
Probably
like,
because she could sense.
Yeah, and she's Force.
just like all the things that we found in the novelization, I generally like. Well, we could totally talk about them, but I don't consider them canon in the sense that I just look at the movie.
Yeah.
They are technically canon.
I mean, I'm sure they're technically
canon.
yeah.
But and one of the interesting, I think one of the most interesting things that's coming from the novelization is right before Kylo and Rey touch in the hut, Luke does have a change of heart, and he is going to tell Rey, "I am going to go and I'm going to fight for the Resistance."
So he changes his mind after
He changes the mind. And
after they touch.
Yeah, and he's on the way, and you can see it too in the movie. You know, like he's sitting there and he does connect with the Force. That's like when he puts his hands on the ground and like the water and the fountain starts shaking and everything. And he comes to you see him go towards the hut, and then he opens the door like to tell Rey, I'm going to fight with you. Sees Kylo there, and just like the hut explodes. He's done. He's not fighting. They fight. They say, "You don't know what you're getting into." Rey runs away, and that's the last time they technically see each other.
That's interesting. Speaking of that,
that is the last time.
My other thought that I forgot earlier was I actually feel like I would have liked to see more of Luke and Rey doing their thing together. But I don't know, maybe that's just me not remembering.
Luke and Rey doing their thing together?
Just like being together, not some necessarily training since they weren't training, but yeah, just the whole training scene where they're all
There's
together.
quite a bit of
maybe it just was too
interaction.
disjointed or something.
Well, it wasn't quite what we expected, just like
Yeah, that was
another
definitely
instance.
part of it,
It
but-
wasn't him training her to be a Jedi. It was more her trying to convince him
Three
to
lessons.
train. Yeah.
3 lessons. And none of them were actually like physical lessons or like Force.
But that whole scene I really enjoyed, just
Yeah.
seeing that interaction.
Did you guys think that the way Luke died was cool? Because I heard complaints about it, and I was like, "What? That was great, twin sons."
At first,
Like, you know.
at first I did, and then I listened to the soundtrack the next day, and I heard that part where you hear like the Tatooine theme.
That's so good, man.
And I
Full
was like,
circle.
I started feeling something. I'm like, yeah, they did it right. They did it right.
I loved it.
Didn't you feel weird about it at first or something? Or
No, I just was surprised that he died at first.
no, yeah, I felt good about it. Well, see, that the other thing is like there might be complaints that he's dying already, blah blah blah. Well, which I mean, you're handing the movie off to the new characters, but also that doesn't mean he's not going to show up. Like,
Yeah,
there's
'cause
no,
he's
Yoda
Yoda still shows up. Luke's
Yeah.
gonna be showing up.
Well, then they always say, in death I'll be stronger or whatever.
That's
so.
true. Yeah.
And there was a question like, why did he die? I mean, like, there's no reason. He was just force projecting that came out of nowhere, left field. That seemed like such a stupid thing to do. And I can kind of see those people's points, but they make it clear somewhere early on when Kylo is talking to Rey, is like, you can't be connecting us. The Force, the Force would kill you.
That's just what I'm talking about. With Ryan Johnson,
Yeah.
he comes up with an explanation for everything. Like I just was really impressed by that. He's always like, he anticipated everything people were going to say.
Wow, yeah.
And came up with at least something.
That's brilliant.
And I'll say, I think it's in the novelization too. I got to double check this, but Luke hears a voice, and I think it says "Let go," and so that was Luke's. Like, I think that was Obi-Wan telling him "Let go," and that was his way of like saying, "Okay."
So how much got cut off?
Barely any.
So you're talking about how
novelization Qui-Gon Jinn, blue balls of light.
No, sorry. I was just saying that during the novelization, Luke hears from Obi-Wan that he needs to let go, and I think it's Obi-Wan, and that's kind of poetic too, because that's one more way of him saying, "Your time is ready. It's time to like become one with the Force and turn into Force Ghost Luke." So I'm sure we'll see Luke again in the next episode.
Yeah.
But he's just not going to be physically there, Luke.
So I was saying, I mean, obviously it's poetic that he was seeing the binary sunset, but someone pointed out that when he first looks at it in the original movie, that's like when he's deciding his whole path in life. So it's full circle.
Full circle. I love it.
It's the beginning and the end of the hero's journey.
Binary
Yeah,
circle.
no,
Beginning and the end
I
of
mean,
the
like
hero's journey.
that was like the big thing with George Lucas. Okay, so
It's like
Finn.
poetry.
Jar Jar.
Finn, when he's about to go into that thing, that was his.
What?
Wait, what
Oh, when he's about to
when
suicide.
he's about to suicide bomb the laser.
The Death.
When
When
he's
he's
about
about to go in.
to do that thing.
You know what I'm talking about.
The Death Star cannon.
Did you think that they were actually going to kill him?
At that
No,
point, yes. I thought they would.
Okay, so you never thought that they were actually going to kill him.
I don't think I thought that, just because it's Star Wars.
I wasn't sure anymore because they killed Snoke.
They killed Snoke at like all
So
at that
many
point.
things had already happened.
Yeah,
that
all
these
these things had happened that had completely changed what I thought would happen. So I was like, okay, I guess they're killing. Like I thought Leia was dead, because me and Andrew were literally in the movie theater. I was like, man, I wonder how, like, is Leia gonna die in this one? Because because Carrie Fisher died.
Dead,
And then like immediately when I said that, like the ship blew up, and I was like, well, that was fast.
I thought it was kind of weird that they didn't take that advantage or take advantage of that opportunity to kill her off.
Yeah, but she's so important for the rest of the story.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but when Finn was about to drive into that laser, I was like, they're really going to do this. They are going to kill Finn off to give. So this is. I don't want to spoil the movie, so I won't mention what movie. But there is a movie.
Spoilercast, though, right? Oh, you're talking
a different
about
movie. There's a movie where they kill off one of the main characters out of the blue, just like it's okay. Well, they kill one of the characters out of the blue right towards the end, so that when they get to the climax, you think that they could kill anybody, and he's a main character, like a main character.
It's like Game of Thrones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you bring that real tension in there, then anybody can die. Like you have to kill somebody who's major to do that, and it's weird. So they didn't go that route, but they did another. What I thought was also good though is that they brought his character to his like next stage of development where he's actually fighting for a cause other than himself and like one other person.
Yeah.
He's now sacrificing himself for a cause that's greater than himself. Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, you definitely see noticeable character development with Finn because it started out with him just being like, I don't want to be part of the
This is your fight.
Yeah, and then he's like, the whole time, like, why are we going back to Jakku? I just want to get away from here.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the Last Jedi, he's like you said, he's got this.
He's
whole
a
new
rebel.
cause.
No, he actually says that too.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm rebel scum when he kills what's her name?
Yeah.
Phasma.
I thought it was kind of quirky that the guy, when they're on what's the salt planet?
Crate.
When they're on Crate, the guy's like, it's salt. It's like, no one asked, but everyone was wondering.
That's like another Ryan Johnson thing. It's like, people are going to wonder what this is. I'll just have this random guy say
I wonder, because the first thing I thought when that guy walked out and there was red, the first thing I thought was like, man, that guy's bleeding to death. Did you guys think that too?
No.
Okay, because that's the first thing that I thought, and then when he was like, it's salt, I was like, oh, okay. They explained it right.
That was just their way of saying, no, it's not another ice planet.
Yeah.
We're gonna do something new.
I'd love though, like I said earlier, though the red
So
color
cool,
that they
yeah.
use, how they had the white. Man, it was just so great. And then the battlefield afterwards, just like completely scarred.
But, okay, so just more about that whole thing. But when the guy walked out, didn't the other people look at him like, what's going on here?
I think they didn't realize the planet was salty and red either.
So maybe they just saw the red.
That's not my
and
recollection, but I don't. I mean, my recollection is they were just looking at him, but or weren't even necessarily looking at him.
No, I do kind of remember that.
Yeah, because
Well,
I was like, they looked at him like he was walking out there and he was dying. So I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
I loved those speeder things, the rickety, rockety.
Rickety.
And I had seen that in the original teaser that they released like back in April, and I'm so glad I actually
totally forgot.
that.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I remember when I watched that. I only watched it like one more time that year, and I remember thinking like, okay, I'm gonna try and forget everything. I'm glad I forgot that.
I saw that part when I was watching Dancing with the Stars of all things, and they kept showing the Star Wars commercial, and I was just watching. I was like, "What is this? This looks amazing!" I was like, "It's Star Wars!" Well, I immediately turned it off, but
they revealed way too much in that second.
way too much.
Shameful.
Trying to think if there's anything else we haven't covered that was really major.
Why do the
I like the porgs.
Oh, the porgs are great. Yeah.
Porgs are.
Anyone who
perfect.
says they don't like porgs, they're just wrong factually.
No, it's like they take up such a small amount. They're a nice little funny thing.
That's the most Star Wars thing in the world.
Yeah.
A little
weird
cute
creature
thing that we can use to sell.
I mean, I also like Ewoks, but
Yeah, I like Ewoks too. But I was just talking to somebody about that. Is I was a kid when I saw Ewoks for the first time, but I'm an adult and I saw porgs and I think they're great. So.
Yeah, and not to mention like the porgs, like they weren't even in like part of the story like the Ewoks
they're
were.
not
They were literally just like a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
just-
so how can you
it's
be
not-
so bothered by it?
Yeah.
It's not like
not
it's not like having a porg in the movie ruined the whole story.
Porg walks up to Chewie. He's like, "Oh, Misa gonna eat you? Oh, you're eating my brother."
Man, that porg looked delicious though.
Yeah.
The one that he had in his hands there.
I wonder if it tastes
So
like
plump.
My
pork.
favorite criticism of
Chicken.
porgs is, oh, it's just a cheap money grab Disney's trying to do. I said, literally, Star Wars is a money grab
Yeah, I
that
was
Disney's
about to
trying to
say,
have.
yeah, like, you
and
gotta
if that's going to bother you, then you're not going to have a good time at the movies, because movies are made for money.
We all know why they put porgs in, right?
Yeah, so they could cover up the
There were puffins.
puffins, yeah.
Yeah, there were so many.
Oh
puffins,
right, yeah.
And also to make money.
When what? Oh,
And
yeah,
also
yeah.
to make money.
What
Worked.
island were they on?
What is it?
Skellig Island.
Yeah.
Oh, like
Skellige.
Skellig Island.
like The Witcher 3.
Yeah, what's
porgs
that
were
Witcher
on-
one?
So,
Skellige Isle.
I was going to say, I have a closing thought if we're ready for that.
Sure, yeah. I don't really have much left to say.
Last Jedi, where, all right, two last thoughts. Last Jedi, where would it rank for you as,
Ooh.
and what would be your number one if it's not your number one?
Man, that's such a tough call.
Yeah, I
because-
can't do rankings on that.
I think
man.
number 3 for me actually.
What's your rate? What's number 1 and 2?
Always number 1 will always be until we see the next movie, A New Hope. Number 2 probably Empire.
Okay.
Empire is the hipster's answer, and it is.
Well, I'm a
technically-
hipster then.
I
It
thought
is-
Empire was everyone's answer usually.
No, it's everybody's answer, but
Oh.
well, I mean, it's not everybody's answer, but it's technically the best movie, but it's also like the least complete movie. I feel like, and it has such a great twist. It's hard not to say that it's.
Maybe if the
Yeah.
original trilogy, like if it was just Empire and the first and the last hadn't existed, then maybe people would have seen it as a weaker movie. But I think in the context of the entire first trilogy, Empire's a really strong movie.
My answer for New Hope is just that I love the journey of Luke with Obi-Wan and like the development and learning all about the Force and like just that the whole thing of being taught by a wise guru about this
Yeah,
mysterious
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I love it. And like the cantina, seeing the world.
Empire has that too. Had Yoda.
Yeah, that's true. But there's I don't know. It feels raw. And,
The New Hope has the best like 3-act structure. Boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom.
yeah.
And there's so much that happens in that movie. Like when you think the movie's almost over, there's like 20 minutes of space battling.
Now tell us why Attack of the Clones is yours.
No, I really think Last Jedi. It's tough because it's so fresh. I still think Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie so far, just because it is so different, and because it's different, I love that. I will say though, there are certain things like even though I temporarily calling it my favorite Star Wars movie, there are other movies that did certain things better. So I will say the best Star Wars space battles, if I were to rank them, would be Rogue One at the top, then Return of the Jedi, and then Revenge of the Sith, and then A New Hope.
Prequels, I don't even want to hear about them.
The space battle.
Wait, you thought A New Hope?
I thought
Oh,
A New
New
Hope
Hope.
by far had the best space battles.
Really?
Yeah.
Rogue
Rogue One, I only remember that one ship hitting off the shields.
Yeah, I didn't think. I mean, Rogue One's was good, but it just didn't.
We know where they had the Hammerhead Corvette and they're shoving that against the other Star Destroyer,
That was
ripping
cool,
that up.
but
and-
like it didn't have the tension that New Hope has.
Yeah, New
There's
Hope-
so much
Well,
tension.
I
in
also
New Hope.
felt. What's this movie called? The
Last
Last Jedi.
Jedi.
I also felt like Last Jedi had decent space battles because like the whole bomber scene was really tense and like.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot to talk about that. The bombers. Yeah. It was so
How
great.
come they have to drop bombs? How does that work?
it's magnetic.
Yeah, that's.
It's magnetic.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That was their explanation for it, but
Is there also an explanation? Like I know this is stupid, like just
I-
nitpicking,
I-
but
I
why
probably-
are the bombers slow?
it's a good ass question.
because they're heavy.
Deus Ex
But so going back to your question though, where I would rank The Last Jedi, it's so hard because if you ask me if I could only take one, it'd probably be A New Hope, just because that's like
Oh yeah.
that's like Star Wars. It's the
Oh,
first
man.
one that just like it has everything you want out of Star Wars. But Last Jedi was like the most action packed and like new and it has the nostalgia thrown in, like because I'm all about that nostalgia. So
But not too much. And also, they play off the nostalgia of like crushing nostalgia. Like,
Yeah.
This isn't the nostalgia that you're hoping for. This is we're taking the old, replacing it with the new, and that's the theme of the movie.
Wow, you're right. A lot did happen in A New Hope. I was just thinking about. I was like,
crazy,
they were on the Death Star, and they rescued Princess Leia, and they were in the trash compactor, and I was like, man, like
They spend a ton of time on Tatooine itself.
yeah.
And then they're in the Death Star. And
There's
then
like
they do
20
that-
minutes of just
Yeah.
C-3PO before you even meet Luke.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, everybody rank your Star Wars movies.
Including prequels?
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Oh, okay.
I
So
think,
prequels are obviously on the bottom. We can just start with that. I would give it probably Phantom Menace first, Revenge of the Sith second, and then Attack of the Clones
I
third.
think that's definitive because
first being best or worst.
Yeah, first being
Okay,
the best.
yeah, because
Phantom Menace is the best of
the second one was
what?
definitely
Phantom Menace
terrible.
is the worst.
No, the
Second
second
one
is the
was
worst.
Oh, sorry, no, you're right.
worst.
You're right. But I mean,
Yeah.
Second
Revenge
one
of the
is by
Sith
far
is
the
the
worst.
best, is what I'm trying to say. Revenge of the
Phantom
Sith-
Menace
I
had
feel-
the
yeah.
battle between Obi-Wan
Darth Maul.
and Darth Maul
Boom.
instantly better than
Yeah,
the other
instantly better. Because
I don't
Revenge of the Sith has no...
two. Yeah, and then 2 had basically the whole Anakin Padme love thing.
Why was his arms up like this?
They changed it because in one of the commercials they're down.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to this, and it's like,
It's so weird.
what if his arms were up?
Yeah, I think it's, good.
But the third one had the lizard that Obi-Wan rides. He goes,
doesn't
whatever.
it?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
had Grievous too.
Actually, Grievous was in the second one, right?
No, the third
the
one.
the third one. Yeah.
Oh.
Revenge of the Sith.
To give the prequels some credit though, it's because of the prequels that the Canto Bite scene felt a little more Star Wars to me. Because I was like, okay, this like feels too Hunger Games, but then I was like, well, it's still like prequel-y.
And you know what? Say what you will about the prequels. I got to give George Lucas credit because they were very original. Like, the story aside, the world building was very original.
Yeah.
Very
That was never the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the story was definitely the big problem. The
problem was-
dialogue was the big problem.
The problem was
Some
the
of the
sand.
characters was definitely a problem.
Okay,
The sand.
real quick, lightning round. If you could pick one new movie to have all right, basically, who wants a Obi-Wan movie? Yeah,
Oh,
like
Wait,
a
what are
side
you saying?
story type
Side?
thing.
I would love an Obi-Wan movie.
Obi-Wan would be cool. Boba Fett would be great.
Well, that leads to my next thing.
They
It
were
is
making
Boba
one.
Fett.
Solo. You think? What are your thoughts on Solo? And do you think Boba Fett's going to be in Solo?
I'm optimistic on Solo.
Why would
But-
Boba? I don't think so. Well,
Why wouldn't?
how
he?
long is? Well, because it's like why? How long has Han Solo been in debt to Jabba the Hutt? I guess is the question.
Nah, I don't know.
Has it been for 9 years? Because that's the only reason Boba Fett.
What time period does it take place?
It's like 9 years before.
Yeah,
right?
9 years or so.
Here's my thoughts. I think Obi-Wan would probably be the most interesting because his character is the one that's left with most mystery.
Yeah.
Han Solo's character was developed really well, and I don't think I need to know his past to know who Han Solo is as a character.
And plus,
Yeah.
we have Obi-Wan's beginning. We have Obi-Wan's end.
Yeah.
There's like this gap here.
It's
And
such a
plus,
cool.
Ewan McGregor is a fantastic. Like, he's the best thing that came out of
Yeah.
the prequels.
Yeah.
That actor as Obi-Wan, and he's even grown to look like Alec Guinness a little bit.
And I mean, it's so cool because you've got this experienced war general who becomes a hermit in the desert, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just cool. It would be cool to see that connection and to see how he becomes this space wizard. That that old wizard.
Obi-Wan did it was awesome in Rebels. I know I've mentioned this and I've made
Yeah.
you guys watch. Obi-Wan was awesome when he fought Maul in Rebels.
It's like
It's like
Eye drops.
And Obi-Wan has such an interesting backstory in Clone Wars too. I know you guys don't watch it, but he has a love interest. He's got, he's got this like huge internal conflict when Maul comes back and is like hunting him down and killing
Did
off his
they
loved
explain that Maul coming back? Did they explain that in a way that's not completely stupid?
no. They
Okay,
explained
no.
it by he's found in like some pit with spider legs or something.
Because I
Right? Like
ones. Yeah. So he's on a trash planet, and he's
So-
gone crazy.
So basically, what you're telling me is
Snoke
is.
that's a
Snoke's
joke
gonna
a
come
lot of
back
people are
with
doing. Snoke could come back.
Spider legs.
Oh my god, dude.
But I will. All right. So this is one of the rumors I've heard is a lot of people who worked on the prequels at Lucasfilm knew the prequels were bad. Even Lucas probably knew the prequels weren't great. And so the Clone Wars.
Yeah, when we add music, it's gonna really fill it out.
Well, remember, you're gonna have to make this good. He did say that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And so Dave Filoni and a lot of the creators who worked on the prequels, when they had a chance to start their own TV show, The Clone Wars, they're like, okay, how can we redeem some of these characters, the stories? How can we fill it in and like make the prequels suck less?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if you watch Clone Wars, like Anakin is so much more likable. Obi-Wan is lovable.
Yeah.
You know, you really do feel love between Anakin and Padme that
Yeah.
you just don't get in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, man.
And really, what they did, even though it is kind of stupid, they did a great job by bringing them all back because there just was so much that we got to explore.
Missed opportunity from
Yeah.
And that's
so
true.
I think the ends justify the means here.
Okay.
We could have an entire podcast about how to fix the prequels.
Yeah.
Why did you do 10-year-old Anakin? Just have him.
Do you know that
Are you
he
an
went
angel?
to the
Midichlorians.
the middle school and high school I went to? Every single day we rode past this school called Park Tudor. That's where Jake
Oh,
Lloyd
really?
went to school.
I
Yeah.
feel bad for the kid.
Yeah, he
Well,
did
he's an
not
adult
turn
now.
out well.
No, he
man.
did not turn
Like
out
he
okay.
he blames the movies too because everybody like
He
picked
blames the
on
fans, and you know, to be fair, the fans.
Fans are terrible,
Fans
dude.
are terrible.
Like, so
Don't go
mean.
after him. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't go after anybody. It's a creative work.
Yeah.
You go out and make something, and you make something better,
Yeah.
or you shut up. I mean, I know we've spent the last
This entire last hour criticizing movies.
but I'm not gonna go out and like attack people and be like, I can't believe this. You ruined my childhood. Like,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, and
it's
that's
so stupid.
And you know, I'll say that's kind of where I fit into Adventure Archives. It's like I love watching you guys. You guys are the creators, and I'm like, what if we just do this? What if we just do this? You asked me to make a full episode. I'm like, no.
I just had a great thought.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's gone.
Kid actor,
Kid actor.
Obi-Wan movie, Spider Legs.
Don't blame the actors. Blah blah blah.
You go out and
I
create
don't think
something.
it was a great thought anymore.
All right, so
Obi-Wan movies would be awesome. Imagine this. Okay, there was like a statue. Okay, anyway. Just imagine him with like tattered, deserty robes covered in greedy
it's not a
sand.
statue. It's an action figure.
Didn't they do that in the comics?
Yeah. I showed-
Okay, yeah, because I read one of
Like
those.
imagine he's got old
Comics over there.
like old Clone War armor strapped to his pack and like marching through the desert.
Wait,
And then he takes his
the
cloak
it's in
off
the
and it's
car.
Master Chief.
I'm going to show you the comic cover.
Okay.
It's really
Wait,
awesome.
was Master Chief in those
Yeah.
robes? That
Why?
was for Halo 5?
Why?
That didn't happen at all in Halo 5, right?
No, it was some dumb.
It was just some weird.
Marketing.
Well, Halo jumped the shark. If I was going to say this earlier. If Star Wars ever does time travel, jump in the shark.
Say it.
Rebels just did try time travel.
I'm out. No, I mean, I love time travel, but come on, man, just stop using
The
time
closest
travel.
they've come in the movies. I mean, to be fair, there is the aspect of the Force where you can see into the future and stuff.
And that's how they justify
But that's a
this.
premonition. That's not going into
Yeah.
the past. Did they go to the past?
They affected the past. Basically, you have this concept of cosmic force, which is this: you can change the force. You can sense things. I mean, Luke looks into Kylo's future and sees Han dying, which is why he for a second ignites his lightsaber and he sees.
They say that in one of the books or something?
No, it's in the movie.
No, he
That wasn't in
sees
the
he
movie.
sees the darkness in
He says
him,
it-
but
he
he
didn't
never
say-
saw
no,
Han
so
dying.
specific.
No, he says I saw his future, and then you hear lights, you hear Kylo's lightsaber ignite. You hear screams and everything, and
But not specifically Han.
Han,
so
not Han, but
Yeah.
he does say I see my loved ones, perishing.
I mean,
and
that could
everything.
have just been the Knights of Ren killing his
but-
Padawans.
I mean, either way, it's established you can see into the future.
But established.
But go
you
on,
see,
sorry,
you
go
see
on.
into the future. So it's not entirely inconceivable that the Force is omnipresent. It knows the future. It knows the past.
Corporeal.
And
Is that
if someone
Corporeal
can,
is taking shape.
Oh, okay.
if someone can be one with the Force, then theoretically they can appear throughout the Force as it lives and breathes. So in Rebels they kind of do something like that, and it was an interesting concept, and they did it tastefully. It's not
Because I just
From
don't.
what I saw, it did look kind of tasteful.
it was tasteful. I mean, it looks a lot like
Talking about some raunchy scene. It was tasteful though.
No, it was. I mean,
They cut to the windows, a breeze blew a little bit.
When Anakin and Padme were rolling in the meadow, that was very tasteful.
No, I mean, I just don't want it to be like a central tenet of the show or the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
because it's like I love time travel, don't get me wrong, and I love ambiguity. I can live with that. Like Lost is my favorite TV show ever, I think, and you get no answers to anything, so like that's not my problem. It's just I don't want. It just seems like it's a tired. Like it's like they put zombies in Star Wars. They're like, come on, man, not zombies
They did
again.
with Metal
They
Gear,
did.
right?
Yeah.
Well, they had kind of
never
zombies
survived.
in the Legends with the Yuzong Vong.
Oh yeah. Every time I don't know anything about that really, except that they're like there's extra galactic species.
Yeah.
But every time I hear about that, I'm like, that is so stupid.
I know.
What?
The Yuzong Vong, they're like in the original extended universe. They're like this horrible warrior race that
Oh, it's
comes
like
from a different
Borg or
galaxy.
something?
Yeah, it's like
Or
the
like,
Borg. It's like the Borg. Yeah.
What's the one from Firefly?
The
Re-
Reavers?
The
The
Reavers.
Reavers,
That's
yeah.
exactly. It's basically the Reavers.
And it's like just that's not
Reaver.
Star Wars. Like that's so dumb.
I know. Well, but at the same time, Last Jedi, if anything, has taught us we can't use the excuse it's not Star Wars, right?
Star Wars is so many things to so many people. It's hard to like grasp what it is. It's like a collective hallucination.
I mean, like it broke from a lot of the traditional Star Wars stuff, but it was still like I think at a fundamental level faithful to the.
I feel like that too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
totally feel like that.
I mean, there's a lot of traditions that they broke. They didn't use the Wilhelm scream,
Thank you.
Good.
I'm so sick of that screen.
and they
Did
announced
they use
they're-
that in Force Awakens?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. And they announced that they're not going to use it anymore.
Good.
Which
man.
part
So
was it
sick.
in Force Awakens? I think I remember hearing it.
It was when Poe and Finn were escaping from the Star Destroyer, and they're inside the TIE Fighter, and they shoot like the.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The I have a bad feeling about this was said by BB-8, and so you don't really
Yeah,
actually.
you don't
hear
have to hear
Did
it.
is that in every movie?
It's in a lot of them.
It's in every movie.
I don't know if it's in every one.
It's in every movie, yeah.
Because those type of things, at some point they become parodies of themselves. Like if you use it every single time. So I mean, I'm kind of torn on them because like, it's okay if they keep doing them, but it's nice that they're not doing them and moving on to something else. Make new traditions, man.
Yeah.
Like, just like the Force projection. Like, I'm great, a new power. I'd love to see new power. I don't want to just see the same thing. I mean, I do kind of want to see the same thing over and over, but I want you to mix it up a little bit.
Well, actually, that's funny because George Lucas, to his credit, he tried to show a lot of new things.
He showed
That's true, yeah.
a lot of new things in the prequels.
You know what's funny is did they ever do a lightsaber throw in any of the movies?
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Vader threw his lightsaber.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it came back?
We don't see it come back.
That's just throwing a lightsaber.
Yeah. It's just,
It's not boomerang.
like, there's a difference between throwing a lightsaber and a lightsaber throw.
Yeah.
You guys okay if we keep talking? You're not too exhausted?
No.
'Cause
We'll
I'm
wrap things
out-
up soon.
Okay. Well, just one more thing.
It's time for the Last Jedi podcast to end.
George Lucas, his problem is not his ability to be imaginative and like, hire the right people. Well, I guess it is kind of his problem. He didn't hire the right writers. He tried to write it himself. Like, people think Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. He didn't write that.
He didn't even direct it.
Yeah, he didn't write or direct it, and same with Return of the
Well,
Jedi.
even A New Hope didn't. Alec Guinness have a lot. He changed a lot of the lines because
I
it
don't know
sounds
about
better.
Well, also, if you watch the documentary on Star Wars, A New Hope was saved by the edit. Like, if it
really?
weren't for the editors, that movie was terrible. Like, even like this thing,
They rewinded
he just
it.
did it once. He just went, and they had to
Really?
like rewind it back and forth. You watch it, you
Yeah.
can tell.
Oh, man. Now
Yeah.
I gotta go watch that.
It's like they rewind it back and forth.
So they just-
That's iconic.
That's so fun. Well, A New Hope wasn't too great, but when they added the big lizard walking across, I really
Yeah,
think that
then,
sealed it.
yeah.
That really tied it all together.
Return of the Jedi kind of sucked until they added Jedi rocks.
Oh my god, that is the most egregious special edition thing ever.
Which one is that?
Oh my
Return
god.
of the Jedi? When
The,
Jabba's palace.
Oh,
Singer.
actually, really
right.
quickly, the Canto Bite scene also was saved in my mind when I thought about Jabba. That's what tied it together to me was Jabba's palace. Because at first I was like, this casino planet feels kind of off, but then I was like, no, this is just like Jabba the Hutt but classier.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's Star Wars stuff.
Well, I mean, it's like I was saying, it's a cantina scene.
Yeah.
I had someone complain that, why were they playing real human games inside a space casino? I was like, that logic Why are they doing real human games inside of?
There's
this game?
humans. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like, why do they speak English? Why do they?
Yeah,
Why do they
yeah.
fire
Why do they do anything?
blasters?
Although I did find it kind of weird that they gave that one alien. He's like, I saw them two right there. They parked on the sand, and I was like, what? Why are you using that voice for that guy?
You know who that was?
Who?
I'm trying to think of his name. He was in Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, the weird guy, the squinty dude.
You know, the guy that
That guy?
French accent. He was oh my God, he's a famous actor.
I know.
Oh, the
Third
old
Rock
guy?
from the
The old
guy.
guy?
No, not John. John Lithgow's the old guy.
Oh.
John Lithgow. Oh no. Oh, from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
He's
Which one is he? Is he the
The
squinty
weird
dude?
guy,
he's
right?
He's the boy. He's the boy.
Oh, the young, the
He's
little
in-
boy.
he's in-
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Joseph Gordon.
Oh, that was Joseph
yeah,
Gordon-Levitt.
that was
Oh, it was?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The one who talked like this over there. on the sand.
that's them over there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I still am very bothered by one of the creature designs in there.
I don't know.
It's the unibrow. Let me pull it up. You gotta see this. Muppet.
Pause it. Yeah, that looks really weird. Really weird. I'm still really surprised how much backlash there was to Canto Bite. Like,
Yeah, and you see the comparison between the two shots. This is
oh, that's
I've seen that
cool.
shot
That's really
before.
cool. But I just loved, like, when they opened the doors and the music started playing, I was just like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But people really hated it.
I mean, I still, when I first watched it, I was like, this is weird, but
I was so on
it was,
board.
I liked it afterwards.
What was that?
It was a classic movie.
Okay, I guess final thoughts then. Do we finish final thoughting?
We could give it each a number rating. Well, I mean, we kind of ranked it.
Yeah, we did. Looking forward to episode 9.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad they got JJ instead of Colin Trevorrow. Because I did not like Jurassic World one bit.
I'm interested to see JJ. I think they could have gone a lot worse. I kind of wish Ryan Johnson would have finished it.
Agreed,
But
yeah.
I think there was a lot of backlash, and I think there are a lot of people who they needed to do it for
Is he
safety's sake. I think this is
contributing
gonna,
at all to the writing or anything?
Nope.
no. I think JJ is going to have a safe ending, which might not necessarily be the best thing, but it'll be safe.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, if anything, Force Awakens showed that he can play it safe and still make something super entertaining.
I still think it's weird that they didn't have the entire trilogy
Yeah.
somewhat mapped out.
I thought they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Like, they had
yeah.
an outline at least, but they were just completely going by the seat of their pants.
Which is that
just for
how
some
they've
reason.
done all the others, or
Not the prequels,
obviously. Yeah.
but 4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways.
4, 5, and 6 to an extent, because he already knew that Darth Vader was his father because of the name.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Vader is like his
Father.
Yeah, but he didn't know it was his father until.
He's called Darth Vader.
No,
Why?
George Lucas knew. Because he named him Darth Vader.
I thought it was just more of like.
Darth Vader, like in German, means like something.
Vader,
I know
Vader
Vader
is like
means
father,
father.
right?
Yeah.
But I didn't think George was like, okay, I'm gonna make him his dad. I just thought
I'm not sure.
father is like maybe the master of
Wait,
darkness.
wasn't there like something about how that wasn't his idea originally, or something? Or
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Okay, we've exhausted our...
it's time for the podcast
Yeah.
to end.
Fascia.
10 out of 10 for me. 9.5 out of 10. No, I'm just 10 out of 10. I mean, I can nitpick it, but like, I saw it 4 times. I'm going to get it and see it another 4 times. I loved every bit of it. And there's things they could have done better.
9 out of 10. I liked it.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
We're very unbiased here.
We're gonna get lots. Well, maybe not lots, but I bet there will be some comments saying it sucks, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what they say.
Well, no, I mean, I haven't heard any convincing arguments on why it sucks yet. So I invite those if you have some cogent arguments. If you give me some
it's not
non-cogent...
Star Wars is not a cogent argument.
Yeah.
You want to watch the original opening scene for Force Awakens?
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
it. Okay,
yeah,
thank you for
yeah.
watching.